Welcome back to Close Up. We're lucky to be able to access some great knowledge at New Hampshire's institutions of higher learning. Dr. Nathan Schrader from New England College joins us now in studio for a primary check-in. Dr. Schrader, thanks for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
So let's start off with that Republican race for president and this mega lead that Donald Trump has, double digits, about as big as we've seen at this point for a frontrunner. What makes this primary so different with Trump, in particular, him being a president who was president before coming back, right? It's unique.
Well, that's what makes this so unique, is we almost have two primaries in each party where you have the feel of an incumbent seeking re-election or at least another term, right? That's very abnormal in our political process. So I think that helps account for why Donald Trump is doing so well, because a lot of Republican voters and a lot of voters in general look at it and say, well, he is essentially the incumbent, most recent incumbent Republican president. So there's not as much interest in changing horses in that party at the moment.
We've seen polling become more volatile in the last decade, and a lot of people are saying, well, don't trust these polls. It's a big lead, but something's going to happen. What do you think about that? Because it's not like there's this wave of people who are anti-Trump who are just going to show up, right? What's going to happen in the next couple of months?
Right. I look at the consistency of the polls. We might have, if you have one or two polls out there showing something that's a little different than the others, that doesn't make a trend. The trend is what we've been seeing over and over again, and this is what I've been talking about with my students too, is that if you track those poll of polls that Real Clear Politics and 538 are doing, there's an established consistency there among the highly reliable polls that show Donald Trump has a firm, strong, steady lead. And I don't want to say you never say never, but I think it would be very, very difficult for any of his current Republican opponents to dislodge him at this point.
And there's one commonality that Obama and Trump share, is that they pull people into the process who were not there before, right? And so that's what can kind of shade and put these things in a different realm, because they are pulling in voters who, these pollsters that a lot of people don't always count on. They've adjusted the formulas for Trump a little bit, but it's a lot of new people.
Right, and something I like to remind folks who say, well, Donald Trump had his shot and he didn't win re-election. Well, look at, was it 10 or 11 million more votes that he accumulated from 2016 to 2020? That means there also could be in the primary process a number of Trump voters out there who haven't really voted in primaries before, but they're still out there. So we're going to see what they do, because they came out and voted for him in the general election in 2020 when they hadn't done so in his first general.